I think you could make a case, 427 Chicago Sports Radio, 6-7 the score, Boers and Bernstein. I think you'd make a case that if you, what we're talking about with Drew Sharp about these Lions, the Bears are going to play Sunday. If you look at the long history of the Lions, which is pretty, just don't do that. Don't do that. Don't try to figure out how in 57 years in this NFL you win one playoff game. Please don't do that. You don't want to look at that. But the frustration for me would be with this team loaded with top draft picks and guys that you think are pretty good or at least can hold their own. They shouldn't be stampeded by people. That you should be in a better position than you have been. You should be in a better position with this amount of talent you have. You've paid your quarterback. You've made your mind up on him. And did we come to the decision that the best quarterback they had since Bobby Lane was Greg Landry? Did we come to that decision?
I think we might have. That's what you call a bad decision.
It's a bad decision.
You made the Pro Bowl
once.
Hey, Terry, number of times the Lions have won 10 games or more in a season?
Well, the Wayne Fonts teams won 9 a couple times. I don't know if they ever won 10.
I'd say in franchise history.
3. 9 times.
3.
19. You're going back to 1930. 9 times.
1930? And how many times were in the 30s?
Twice in the 30s.
Okay. And then you had like Night Train Lane in the 50s, right?
Bobby Lane should have won 9 games, shouldn't he?
In the 50s, they won 10 games once.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
What would you consider the modern era of football?
Last year.
Deep thinker. That's a great question.
That's a much more difficult question
than it sounds like.
Yeah,
because generally I have a ready answer for you.
I would probably say it would be after they changed the rules because of Lawrence Taylor and Derek Thomas. After they allowed the tackles to be pulled in a little bit. When was that? 90?
Round in there.
So let's go 90. That's a good spot to start. Okay. Since 1990, how many 10 or more win seasons?
3.
4. 4 since 1990. Hey, this is just disgusting. I mean,
yes, we need to stop looking at the Lions.
So Drew is right. They're disgusting.
Okay, 1996.
But that doesn't mean you let go of the Super Bowl or bust mentality.
1996.
That's how you become mediocre.
Since 1996, 1 10-win season.
Good Lord.
These are the wins. Okay, I'm just going to go back last year.
To make sure that doesn't happen.
Right, Terry. These are wins. Starting last year, 2012. I'm just going to read the total number of wins.
Okay.
Starting 2012, 4, 10, 6, 2, 0, 7, 3, 5, 6, 5, 3, 2. That goes back to 2001.
Oh, my God.
That's like the franchise bad.
That is. No, Dan, seriously, when you're talking...
how hard it is? It is so hard to stay bad.
Yes.
No, even a bad team falls on a 7-9 record, like occasionally. Okay.
Yes.
And that's what they did in 2007. But the stretch they went from 2001 to 2006. One more time. This
Say
is
hi to Matt Millen, everybody.
2001 to 2006. Number of wins: 2, 3, 5, 6, 5, 3.
We're looking, and again, I don't know why we choose to make ourselves sick. I really don't know why we do it.
This is really amazing. We always make fun of the Bears quarterbacking history.
Going back to the 40s. We're holding records.
It didn't take long for Jay Cutler in a handful of seasons to become by far the best quarterback in franchise history.
Correct.
And obviously we have to adjust for the way the game has changed. But even with that in mind, and these are ranked here at ProFootballReference.com by total yards, but even looking at some of these ratings in here, I'll just give this in order. Here are your all-time most prolific passers, the ones who've racked up the most passing yards. It's just because of how it's all ranked here.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Lane at 15,710.
Pretty good, though.
Matthew Stafford at 13,827.
And to Bobby.
Scott Mitchell, 12,647. Greg Landry, 12,451. This is the 5th most prolific quarterback in franchise history for this since 1930, okay?
Okay.
Gary Danielson. At 11.
The guy on TV?
Then,
the guy on
just
TV.
wait here. Just wait.
It is, yeah.
Number 6 is Eric Hipple. Now here we go. Ready? This is starting with number 7. Joey Harrington, John Kitna, Charlie Batch, Milt Plum, Bill Munson, Rodney Peete, Earl Morrill, Chuck Long, Tobin Rote.
Tobin Rote, my favorite.
John Kitna is number 8 all time.
Murder Tobin Rote.
Right? Did you say number 8, Danny?
Number 8 is John Kitna, yes. Under Martz, right?
2 seasons.
Jim Nanowski, Eric Kramer, Clyde LaForce.
Yep.
Sean Hill, Bob Gagliano, Carl Sweetan, Fred Enke, Jeff Comlow, Gus Farrat.
He's very inky.
Joe Reed, Frankie Sinkwich. Hey, give me a Frankie Sinkwich and let me put it in my car.
It's just an awful
Dante Culpepper.
God for sake. And the problem is I recognize the names.
Mike McMahon, Dan Orlovsky.
Didn't Terry have a Sinkwich along with the
Right.
Sink
Yeah,
Monkey?
sure.
The Sink Monkey loves a good Sinkwich. But Dan Orlovsky, who went 0-7 as a starter, he was the guy that kept running out of the back of the end zone,
That's
right?
exactly what he did.
Accidentally. Whoops! Oh, damn it! I did it again. I'm standing next to the cheerleaders again. What happened?
He was a work in progress.
Well, how does Jim Schwartz still have a job?
Glenn Presnell, Dave Craig, Rusty Hillier, Dutch Clark, Joe Ferguson,
Now you're just making up names.
Dave Ryan, Tom Dublinsky, Drew Stanton, Andre Ware, Chuck Fennenbach, Jeff Garcia, Harry Gilmer, Dwight Sloan, Ty Detmer, Frank Reich, Roy Zimmerman, Frank Tripucka. He just died, didn't he?
He just died. Mm-hmm.
Well, I would too after reading this list. Cotton Price, Byron Whizzer White,
Oh, yeah.
Don Mikowski.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could go.
Can't prejudge.
There's 165. I'm going to stop.
Yeah, that's enough. That's no good.
Oh my good God, man!
That's what I'm talking about when you think about it, and they paid a guy, because I don't think any of those other guys you mentioned made Matt Stafford money.
No,
I mean, you didn't look at any of those guys you mentioned.
They
Bobby
had
Lane.
Jack Concannon.
Yep.
I don't remember that.
That's briefly.
Ooh, that's really all you want him, right?
Yeah.
Oh my.
God.
Matt Millen might be we make fun of Elgin Baylor all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the worst ever.
Matt Millen, I think, is probably the worst major sports executive of all time. If you look at a league that tries to help you get good with every turn, goes out of its way to make sure you have every chance to be good.
His only saving grace is the big man. He drafted Calvin Johnson, did he not? That was Millen's pick.
Yeah, but his actual teams,
I know,
regardless.
I know, but I'm just saying that look at his picks. Screw his teams. Look who he took. Look at some of his picks.
Yeah, so 2001 to 2008, he's the general manager. These are the wins: 2, 3, 5, 6, 5, 3, 7, 0.
An email from Justin who says, I just threw up all over my keyboard with more violent force than when you last read me the Orlando Magic roster. You owe my employer a new keyboard.
His quarterbacks: Batch, Harrington, Kitna, Orlovsky.
Harrington was what pick in the draft?
Third.
Third? Okay.
I think he was third.
I think he's third too, Dan.
Okay.
Let's see here real quick. He was, the third overall.
There's one of them. One of the great picks of all time.
I remember
Joey
he
Harrington.
walked to the locker room and he was aloof and weird and people didn't think he wanted to play football, that he didn't like football. And
they were right.
He played like he didn't like football.
Yeah.
He didn't value the precious ball.
David Carr was 1, Peppers 2, Harrington 3.
You'd like to have that Peppers pick, wouldn't you?
Well, the David Carr thing didn't work out either, though.
Well, but they kept bouncing his head off the ground, right? I mean, they kept sacking him until his brain was jello.
Yeah.
The last pick in that draft was the first round. Wasn't that Doug's guy, Patrick Ramsey? Didn't he love Patrick Ramsey?
You know who he
Washington
did?
Quarterback.
There wasn't
love Patrick Ramsey.
There was a name we read that Doug did love, and it was Mike McMahon, right? The Rutgers quarterback. Wasn't he a Doug guy?
It might have been. I thought he loved Patrick Ramsey though.
Generally, though, the players that Doug likes suck. I mean, I love Doug,
Millen.
but I mean,
Mike McMahon, the spunky QB.
the poor man's McMahon is quarterback.
Yeah,
he wrote inspirational messages on his headband.
Yeah, not good.
Carpe diem.
Man, that was a rotten year for quarterbacks in the draft.
Harrington?
Oh, man, David Carr, Harrington. Then that's the first round. Oh, and then Patrick Ramsey, last in the first round. None in the second round. Third round, you get down to Josh McCown.
Hey, don't you disparage Josh McCown. He's got his little earpiece in, listening to Enya.
And then the fourth round, you get David Garrard.
Did very well for himself as a fourth rounder.
Yeah,
Keeps getting
joined
hurt.
the Hot Wife Patrol. And
Something named Randy Pisani in the fifth round.
No, that didn't happen.
No, that's not
You
a real
made him
person.
up.
No.
You determined him not
Oh,
to be.
I'm sorry, Randy Fasani.
Oh, that.
Oh,
that.
my bad.
Yeah,
sure.
I got him.
My bad.
Yeah, I think that's also
I'm
in the
sorry.
I got him.
fake person draft.
He was drafted by Carolina. That was that's a really bad draft for quarterbacks.